It is match day Saturday, and Austin FC are taking on Minnesota United for the seventh time in club history. The last time both teams played against each other happened last month, in which Austin FC beat Minnesota United a 2-1 score, in which John Gallagher and Driussi scored the 2 goals in that match. But what exactly is Minnesota United to Austin FC? Are they an easy or threatening match opponent for the Verde and Black? Well, currently, Minnesota United sits 11th place in the Western Conference with 24 points. In the last 5 games for the Loons, it's been kind of shaky to kind of okayish, with 1 win, 2 draws, and 2 losses. The last time Minnesota got a win at home happened last Saturday as they beat Portland Timbers in a 4-1 score. And for Austin FC, we know what happened. We got a really disappointing draw against Inter Miami that felt like a loss to us, but we currently sit 8th place with 26 points. So the difference between the 26 we have from the 24 of Minnesota, it's a 2-point gap. And this is probably, from my point of view, the most tightest Western Conference we have seen ever since Austin FC joined the MLS, because for Austin FC, we're currently 4 to 6 points between getting top 5 and be secure from playoffs. So for against Minnesota, we have to beat them, or we have to get something out of there, because it's always a tough opponent to play against Minnesota at their home field, Allianz Arena. But for both teams, record shows this is their 7th game in club history. Austin FC and Minnesota share the same wins with 3. The last time Austin FC got a win at Minnesota was in the second away game, our second win on the road in our first year, as we beat them in a 1-0 score from a Diego Fagundes, goal. And for Minnesota, they beat us at their home field last year in a 2-1 score, in which Driussi scored the only goal. But currently, Minnesota's home field record isn't good as we thought it'd be, with 2 wins, 5 draws, and 1 loss. The last time they got a loss is when they lost to Orlando City in a 2-1 score back in April. So that's roughly 3 months from now. So for Austin FC, our record on the road isn't good as well, just like Minnesota's record at home, because ours is most likely 2 wins, 2 draws, and 5 losses, with the last one we got was against Seattle Sounders back in May in a 2-1 score. But like I said, this is anybody's game. If Austin FC wins, clearly we're going to be in top 5 in the Western Conference, but if Minnesota wins, they're going to be in playoff spot. But let's move from that and let's focus on the players Austin FC had to focus on, mostly on Minnesota United's offense. Currently, Minnesota United offense has provided 21 goals. It's not been good for them. It's kind of shaky because mostly their players are out due to suspension or injuries. 4 players right here I'm going to mention. Bongole Hlongwing has provided 5 goals and 1 assist with Minnesota. He's more deadly inside the box, provided 4 goals inside. So when it comes in a 1v1 situation against Stu has to be ready both physically and mentally. Another player who came back from his personal problems is Emmanuel Reynoso, Minnesota United star player. Somebody who's a great impact and difference maker in the midfield. Reynoso has provided 3 goals in the last 4 games. He scored 2 goals last week in the 4-1 win against Portland Timbers. And he's someone who has a great vision in the midfield, can help out his teammates. Another player is Mender Garcia, who's going to be the striker with Minnesota, has provided 2 goals and 1 assist in the last 18 games. And one player who can come in as a substitution player, super sub, it is Korean, attacker Sang Bain-jong, who's provided 72% of accurate passing and 55 shots on target. So Stu has to be really prepared when it comes to Jong's shots. And one player who could start against Austin FC is their new DP. It is Teemu Pukki, who came from Norwich City from the championship and coming in here to support more in the offense for Minnesota. So it's probably a 50-50 we get to see Pukki against Austin FC. Might come in as a substitution player. But for Austin FC, I would say Minnesota, they're out with 2 other players. Fragapane is out, and Arriaga is out because he's playing with Honduras for the CONCACAF Gold Cup. So for Austin FC, we have to focus. The defense is Reynoso. If any team can block or keep Driussi in their pocket, then we can do it against Reynoso. Two players to focus on is Cascante, and we have to start Kip Keller because Alex Ring isn't that. He's an improvised center back, but he's not getting used to it anymore. His facial expression is that he's tired of it. And last week against Inter Miami, he came off and they were saying it's probably another injury or probably not fully fit. So Kip Keller has to come in. We have to support Keller alongside with Julio Cascante. So two of those players alongside with Danny Pereira focus mostly on Emmanuel Reynoso because, like I said, he's a great impact to Minnesota's midfield, and that's their star player. Also, we have to start the same back four. Two fullbacks have Nick Lima and John Gallagher, and start two natural center backs, so Cascante with Kip Keller. For Austin FC's offense, we got to start the same way, but don't start with two defensive midfield players, because from my point of view, what happened against Inter Miami is that it was mostly staying in the back the entire time, but if we push both Owen Wolff and Danny Pereira in the midfield offensively, it's a whole different Austin FC. What happened against the 2 games against our Texas rivals? 6 goals in 2 games. That's because we have 3 offensive players in the midfield push up and support our three players in the front. Finley, Zardes, and Fagundes. That's how we won the match. In the midfield, in the wingers, start Ethan Finley again over Rigoni and Diego Fagundes, and start Driussi in number 10 with Gyasi Zardes. But for Austin FC, we have to focus on their defense of Minnesota, because this season Minnesota has allowed 25 goals, which is not good for them, but really close to being playoffs since they sit 11 plays. No Dwayne St. Clair because he's with Canada for the CONCACAF Gold Cup. No Michael Boxall because of the yellow card, meaning he's suspended. And no Kemar Lawrence because he's injured. So 2 players we have to focus on the defense of Minnesota. Miguel Tapias. He has provided 83% of accurate passing rate, 67 tackles won, and provided 97 clearances, mostly 41 in the air, but be careful because he's provided 56 ground or passing, clearances. And alongside, who's going to support in the anchor role for defense, it is Bakayi Devasi, who's played 1 game, but will support Tapias for the meantime until Boxall's, suspension is up. So both of them, Tapias and Devasi, are going to be locked down keep the Austin FC midfield on lockdown. So I would say this is going to be a really narrow match. Austin FC might come out with a 2-1 score, goes from Driussi and let's say Diego Fagundes, and then come home with a win, then on the road again against Vancouver. But other than that, you guys, hope you understood this video. My name is Vanilla Mike17, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.